Good evening. It's Thursday, October 22nd, and I'm finally getting down to some throwing. I mentioned yesterday that some days aren't throwing days just because you have to plan ahead for when you're going to trim. I've also, over the years, told my students that some days aren't throwing days just because they're not throwing days. Particularly when you're starting out. You crash a few pots. All you're doing by continuing is building up your dread. And it doesn't even have to be that you're a beginner. And then I tell them the story of my professor, one of my two graduate school professors, Chuck Hindes. It's a story he would tell. So he was scheduled to do a workshop, I want to say somewhere in Tennessee. And he would go around the country doing various workshops. And for whatever reason, that morning of the workshop, he couldn't throw at all. I mean, things are collapsing. And at some point, and he was kind of a joker, he just stops and he goes, "I can't do this anymore. I told him." He insisted, but I told him, "I'm not really Chuck Hindes. I'm his twin brother, Ralph. Chuck's stuck in the mountains. Chuck had problems. I think we should all just go have lunch. He'll be there. He'll be back by then. He'll take over in the afternoon. Everything's good. I'm sorry for the confusion." And of course, the host is freaking out. He's like, "Chuck, don't do this. Don't do this. These people paid money." They go, they have lunch. After lunch, Chuck's fine. He throws just like he always throws. The point is, you can't insist. You can't just force your body to do the things it has to do. Sometimes it's just going to say no. And those are the days when, potentially you get other chores done, or you do some hand building. That's one of the upsides of the 1,001 jobs of being a potter, is that it's not all throwing, even if perhaps that's what the general public thinks. Throwing is just part of it. And some days it's not part of what you get to do that day. Have a good evening.